Each morning, real setups are broken down with entry strategies and technical reasoning behind every trade. This is today's best trade setups with Verified Investing.
Welcome, everybody. My name is Benjamin Poole, head trader here at Verified Investing with your top trade setups. So I've got a couple short possibilities, a couple long possibilities, and then we're looking at AMD. AMD ended up negative yesterday. It had some really good news, so it did have this surge to the upside, and then all of a sudden it did fall off a cliff. Now, after hours and into the pre-market, AMD is surging. I have some key technical levels, not only for a potential day trade going into this morning's session, but also a swing trade short level for AMD. When I say that, our tech guy in this studio is actually saying that AMD could surge a whole lot more, saying it's way, way, way undervalued at its current evaluation. The technology that AMD is coming out with is just mind-blowing. So even though the charts are indicating that there should be a pullback, not saying that it's going to dump 50, 60, 70%. We're just expecting small little pullbacks, 10, 15%, and then a continuation move to the upside is possible. All right, so the first one I want to get into is Rivian. The chart is overly extended. It's getting into some key technical levels. 2 days up in a row, going into some huge resistance levels. I'm going to go over that chart for you guys first. So let's go ahead and get into it. So Rivian, $18.49 is that first potential shortable level. Look at what happened with price action. So you've had this big move to the upside, a little bit of sideways consolidation, and then on Monday and Tuesday had two more pretty substantial up days. What I like about this particular chart is look at the volatility. I love a stock that's got a lot of volatility where you get these huge moves to the downside, huge move back to the upside, and these big dips. Think about being stuck at $18.49 in a long position here. It's gotten close to your break even several times. Once price action finally gets up to $18.49, you are likely to take your profits or cut your losses, and that would send the stock price down. $18.86 is a secondary pivot top that I have, which is also going to see a lot of selling pressure if price action can get back up to that level. This is a daily basis. This is the day trade. If price action ends up breaking above the $18.86 level, I'm going to need a continuation. Once it continues past that $18.86, retraces back to that support level, then you could potentially go long on something like Rivian. Right now, it's set up for over an extension and waiting for a pretty substantial pullback. All right, CWAN is the next chart that I'm going to get into. It is actually surging in the pre-market. Had a nice move up yesterday as well. It's getting into some key technical levels. Let's get into that chart. Right now, $20.53 is where it was at in the pre-market. What I've liked about this chart is look at this downtrend. You've got this nice pivot low, a pivot high, a little bit of a lower low, just kind of kiss that bottom, but you definitely got a lower high. This is how you create these downsloping trend lines. Then you've got another lower low, a lower high, another lower low, and a lower high. Now that we're breaking this pivot high, it's negating this trend line. This chart pattern. Now CWAN can actually move to the upside. So the first level of resistance right now is trading at $2 or $20.53. Once it gets up to $21.13, this is a low pivot that pretty much price action got support on several different times. Once price gets back up to this level, all these buyers who are stuck in this position are going to take profits and should drive the price down, probably back down to about $20.53. This is another good setup for me. I love the chart of CWAN going into the this morning session. APLD is another chart that I'm looking at. APLD has been a pretty wild mover as of late. It's been a stock that's been surging to the upside. I've had to actually dive inside of the chart to look for hidden support and resistance levels. And the trend line that I found actually had support yesterday. And now if price action can get below, we have a key technical support level for APLD. So look at this pivot low from the 30th of May. Look at how price consolidated right on this trend line, got underneath. Look at how many times it was rejected on the underside, finally got above, and now it's support. So this would be technically the first hit of this upsloping trend line. This is the second hit of this upsloping trend line. So it does favor a move to the upside, could come back up to $31.40. However, if price ends up breaking down below this level, $25 is my setup for today's trade. It could continue this move to the downside. This would be the first day, second day, third day, right into this gap fill, a major support level. $25 is where I'm looking to go long on APLD. For more of a swing trade, if you are more aggressive, if it gets back to this upsloping trend line, you could actually play this for a long. And on a 15-minute closing basis, it closes below this trend line around actually below this low pivot, $27.71. You could consider stopping out and then waiting for a $25 move to the downside. This is a great opportunity if we can make this continuation move to the downside. CRWV Core Weave is another stock that I was looking at. This stock is in almost like a free fall. It's got two rounded tops coming into some major support. So check out Core Weave going into the morning session. I like stocks to get into these levels within the first hour, hour and a half with volatility. I don't want it to meander down there. The more it meanders down into a specific level, the more and more opportunity the buyers have to step in, and the sellers, once they're no longer able to push the stock down substantially and the buyers aren't able to bid it up, the buyers will step out of the way and it can plummet this thing. So first hour and a half is what I like to see. CRWV had this nice sell-off. This is on the back of earnings, but this would be the third day down in a row. $84.40 is this key technical level. It's this low pivot before this huge move to the upside, back up to $152 from $84. That was a pretty substantial move. Once price gets into this level, it should get a pretty sizable bounce. All these shorts could be covering at this level. So put your level there. If it closes below $84.40 on a 15-minute closing basis, this would be my stop out level. And then I would have to wait for another key technical level, probably looking at $77.16. Once these markets start to sell off, or once these stocks start to sell off over low pivots, you notice there's a lot of area for this thing to continue to run down to. So watch out below if it breaks that support level. Next stock that I'm looking at is AMD. Like I was mentioning, AMD had this huge surge to the upside in the market hours yesterday, sold off, ended up negative on the day. And now in the after hours and in the pre-market, we're actually going quite substantially higher. So let's go ahead and take a look at AMD. Here's the stock. It got up to as high as 252. It's currently trading there. It actually got to this red bar candle. So this is the first resistance level at $253.75. This is the level where you got this wide range red bar candle, huge sell-off. As price action gets in there, back into this level, profit takers are likely to emerge. But my key level for a day trade today is $256.33. With this continued move to the upside, that would be an 8% move on AMD. That's actually a pretty substantial move for this stock. If it does close above 256.33 on a 15-minute closing basis, it's likely to come back up all the way to 259.94. So there's a couple different options for you. You can either take this trade and stop out on a 15-minute closing basis, or if you don't mind dollar cost averaging into it, you could actually average into the price at $259.94. That would be an awesome place to add. It's that double top right into that green bar candle, followed by a major red bar candle. So there's a lot of buyers and sellers in there with mixed emotions. And so it's likely to push the stock even lower on the back of that news. If price action does end up getting through that level, you do have a couple other resistance levels. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to zoom out in the charts so you can see what major resistance level that I have. So this trend line goes back from the from 2021, the highs, secondary pivot top, from the highs of 2024. You connect those two pivot tops, and it takes you all the way up to about $275, where likely AMD is going to head up to. And if it does, this is going to be a swing trade short level, probably getting back down to about a 15% move to the downside, could get you back down to about $233, if not even lower, about $225 on AMD. If price action can get above this level, it would have to confirm above it in order for it to be a continuation move to the upside, which could happen. It's not very likely before a pretty substantial pullback. I love the volatility in this. You're getting 15, 16% moves to the downside, pretty sizable moves to the upside. I love the volatility. So you should have a good, we should have a good support level or resistance level coming up. All right. One chart that I was looking at that was mentioned in the chats was Roku. There's not a whole lot going on with Roku. It is kind of in an uptrend. So you've got this pivot low here, a little bit of a high, pivot low, which is higher low, a little bit of a higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. So it's still technically in an uptrend. It did break here. However, the price action didn't continue to fall. If we can break above $116.63 with continuation on Roku, that is where you're looking to move to the upside. If we get a pullback, your first buy level would be around $92, $91.65. Other than that, the next thing you would want to do is you'd want to create a trend line. So we're going to connect this pivot low through this pivot low. See how it bounced on this support level. So again, this $98 would be your first technical level, but this would be the third hit or fourth hit, depending on if you consider this a hit, which could bring price action down to about the $92 level. So not a whole lot to go over with Roku. It's kind of a mixed bag. It's kind of chopping in the midline area. We'd have to break a trend line or that pivot high in order for me to give you more information on that. All right. Thank you so much for joining me. Hopefully some of these charts hit in the market hours, first hour and a half, so we can take advantage of either a short or a long position. They're looking like amazing setups. Hopefully you guys are getting something out of this. If you guys are, please make sure you're liking, following, and subscribing, and ringing that bell so you can get notified every morning at 8:45. I will be going over my top trade setups of the day. Gareth Soloway is going to be going live. He's going to be talking about Michael Burry and his outlook on what's going on with these tech stocks, saying this could be a bigger bubble than we actually thought. You guys don't want to miss that. So stay tuned, and we'll see you guys next time in the charts. You guys have a great rest of your day. Take care.